President of the United States carries a lonely burden of responsibility, but he must remain close to the people because they are his source of strength and confidence. One way a president comes close to the people is through the press. About once a week, 200 press reporters gather in Washington at the invitation of Dwight Eisenhower, 34th President of the United States. There is Mr. George Bolshakov, correspondent of the Soviet Union's TASS agency. There's Mr. Joseph Chung of the Chinese news press. Here is Miss Alice Dunning of one of the American news agencies. All the men and women in this large gathering represent a cross-section of American and world public opinion. Now the President crosses the street from the White House on his way to the conference building. This year, for the first time, motion pictures record the proceedings. It's a new experiment to give people a closer look at their president as he discusses the issues of the hour.
Well, I see we're trying a new experiment this morning. I hope it doesn't prove to be a disturbing influence. I have no announcements. We'll go directly to questions.
Much can happen in a week. The reporters want to know the president's reaction to the latest news developments. They want a story to bring back to the people. The president knows that here he is facing the nation. Mr. President, what about the Far Eastern situation? Mr. President, is there danger of war? Mr. President, what about taxes? Mr. President, will you propose more foreign aid? Mr. President, will you campaign next year? The answers are spontaneous and informal, and there is room for a sense of humor. Only in a democracy would reporters question a president on military policy. Mr. Eisenhower had decided on a cut in the size of the Army. To the reporters, he explains how he reached that decision.
My decision in this matter was not reached lightly. It was reached after long study of every opinion I could get. Now, and consultation with every single individual in this government that I know of that bears any responsibility whatsoever about it.
But some reporters are not satisfied. They press him for further comment. Mr. Eisenhower reminds him that he has definite responsibilities as chief executive.
I confer with the Joint Chiefs of Staff and through their chairman several times a week, every week. I am never out of touch with them. Now, I know their opinions, and I know exactly who agrees with me and who doesn't. Now, they are entitled to their opinions, but I have to make the decisions.
The tone of the reporters is always respectful, but the questioning is relentless. Here, the man whom the people have made their president gets an indication of what is uppermost in the mind of the ordinary citizen. A president must be guided by the voice of the people.
Would it be possible? I think this gentleman over here is behind it.
But a president must also lead. He must rally the people to a good cause. He must express his own beliefs in terms they can understand.
I think I can best sum up my opinion about the need for the United Nations and about its work, about the reasons we should support it in a very short, simple analogy. We do not cease our efforts in research in cancer, nor do we abolish the laboratories in which this research goes on merely because of lack of success. And we have had a tremendous lack of success. Here is a laboratory where nations come together and they explore and they talk. And I am not even going to bother this morning to recite to you some of the good things they have done in the Mideast and elsewhere. They have. But I must say, as long as we have got a forum, regardless of the fact that our opponents do deliberately use it as a propaganda platform. It is a good thing to keep it going because here is something for which mankind has had a yearning for ever since the dawn of history. And I'm not going to give up in my time on it.
When the senior newsman in the room says the traditional, "Thank you, Mr. President," the conference comes to an end. The conference is headline news. Headline, Eisenhower backs United Nations. Headline, Eisenhower stands firm on Army cut. Headline, Eisenhower sets peace aims. Films of the interview are rushed to the laboratory by motorcycle. Thousands of prints are processed for immediate distribution. Television stations present the films on nationwide programs. That same evening, as American families gather at home, everyone can see and hear the President's press conference. Here on television is the statement we heard earlier, the President assuming responsibility for high-level decisions.
I confer with the Joint Chiefs of Staff through their chairman several times a week, every week. I am never out of touch with them. Now, I know their opinions, and I know exactly who agrees with me and who doesn't. Now, they are entitled to their opinions, but I have to make the decisions.
This is one way in which the American people gain an insight into the workings of their government.